popular pickup truck, which has led to a rash of thefts in cities and towns across the province. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert.
The legendary Ram 1500, a behemoth in the trucking industry, is staring extinction in the face. However, this is only the start of a massive change that may completely disrupt the car industry. Major shifts are taking place at Stellantis. There has been a massive exodus of workers, unions are in a frenzy, and the fallout has reached Ford and GM's sacred halls. This is a financial time bomb waiting to explode beneath the groundwork of American business, not only a problem in the automotive sector. Where did it go wrong? Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares asserts that the automobile industry is in a state of complete disarray. He depicts a market in freefall, with every brand hanging precariously on the edge of catastrophe. At the same time, he brags about how much better Stellantis played. The story gets murkier when we learn that the union president, Shawn Fain, isn't believing this victim narrative. Actually, he's exposing Tavares for what he considers to be an absolute shame. Fain's remarks stung. He threatened to swiftly remove any rank-and-file employee who displayed the same degree of ineptitude as Tavares. How ironic. Thousands upon thousands of workers will meet that exact destiny while Tavares remains in charge. One major question remains, as the smoke clears from this automotive Armageddon. Will this be the end for the American car industry as we know it? On the other hand, are we seeing the traumatic arrival of a new age? No one can say for sure what lies ahead. Danger lurks around every corner, and only those who change will survive. What effect does it have? Stellantis is now at a crossroads, and the stakes appear to be larger than they have ever been before. An abrupt drop in car sales is the fundamental cause of the company's current state of chaos, which includes a wave of large-scale layoffs. This, together with a shift in strategy to focus on electric car manufacturing, has put the workforce in an almost tangible state of anxiety. Due in large part to the shutdown of the Ram 1500 classic assembly line, there have been rumors of intentions to lay off up to 2,500 plant workers at the Warren Truck Assembly Plant. But this is only scratching the surface. Stellantis stunned everyone on July 24 by announcing temporary layoffs affecting more than 4,000 workers at the same assembly factory. Over 4,000 employees were caught in the middle of a labor crisis. Yes, you heard correctly. To put it another way, when the second shift was eliminated, almost 1,600 of these people lost their jobs right away. Everyone is wondering what could have possibly caused such extreme action. Incredible as it may seem, the explanation is a 21% drop in car sales year over year. The rippling effect of the company's decision to reduce output due to the severe downturn is like witnessing a line of dominoes fall in painfully slow motion. Many employees would prefer not to see this happen in person. However, it is not all. The nearby Toledo Assembly Complex has its own round of layoffs, which has stoked tensions, especially among the hardworking people making the Jeep Gladiator. Nearly half of the complex's 5,000 workers have already felt the effects of these changes, and many more are in a nervous state of limbo since they know that production will be on hold for at least 2 weeks. What if you showed up to work one day to find out that half of your staff had been abruptly fired? Stellantis' situation was already bad earlier in the year, so this worrying pattern didn't appear out of nowhere. Actually, over the Detroit Assembly Complex MAC, they had already laid off 2,453 workers, including both regular and temporary workers. However, they proceeded further. Along with the shocking layoffs of 400 IT and engineering employees in March, the firm also laid off temporary part-time workers at other locations. This situation is developing like a domino effect, with each disturbing occurrence adding to the widespread sense of unease among workers. What, though, is this going to do? Layoffs at Stellantis, a huge corporation, can make you feel bad for the employees who lost their jobs. But hold on a second. A cursory examination reveals a far more nuanced reality. The pink slips are symbolic of more than just one job loss. They're like dropping a pebble into a peaceful pond, setting off a chain reaction that affects many more people in the neighborhood. When employment vanishes, it's not just about the people who lose their work. It affects whole communities. When people in the manufacturing sector lose their jobs, their disposable income plummets. What will thus follow? The local establishments that appear to prosper due to consistent customers begin to experience the consequences. Think about those cherished mom-and-pop stores and beloved local shops that you drive by on your way to work. The once thriving businesses start to struggle when their regular consumers find themselves unable to afford simple pleasures like going out to eat or going shopping. This cascade of events, dubbed the multiplier effect, demonstrates the degree to which our regional economies are interdependent. Retailers, hair salons, and cute small cafes might all see a decline in customers and money if this trend continues. Further consequences include the possibility of layoffs for staff as these companies deal with falling revenues. The whole town seems to be on the brink of a devastating wave of job losses. Critical community resources, including food banks and social services, are becoming more and more overburdened as the jobless rates skyrocket. People who have lost their jobs and their reliable paychecks are clutching on safety nets that might soon crumble as well. A climate of constant worry and unease is produced by this. Real families are impacted by the battle, and their futures are in a delicate state, unlike faceless numbers. Think about the employees who got the terrible news of layoffs soon after landing positions that promised greater pay and perks. The subsequent sensations of deceit and doubt are exceedingly disturbing. When it comes to politics, local leaders aren't doing nothing. They're actively responding to the problem. People in difficulty are hearing their voices heard, and they are coming together to support those people and advocate for their needs. However, Carlos Tavares has fearlessly stated his intention to cut expenses by an unprecedented 30%, mainly by eliminating positions and concentrating on improving efficiency. Employees are understandably alarmed by this strong statement, since rumors about their job security linger like an unsightly ghost. While taking this giant leap toward electric cars, everyone is left to question if the firm actually intends to support its employees. Whoever gets caught in the middle of this business turmoil has a lot of unanswered questions about the future and what it holds. Is it any wonder the union is upset about this? This goes beyond the loss of a few jobs. It tests the resiliency of an entire community. The fight for recovery becomes a collective effort since layoffs affect more than just the unemployed. What is the best way to start over? In these difficult times, how can we be there for one another? The answers to these questions might determine the destiny of the community for many years. Thus, they are ultimately very important. How is the union handling this matter? Stellantis. Everyone knows the union as this formidable organization. Let's face it, it has created quite a commotion. Allow me to explain it in simpler terms. You know, there's a lot of pent-up anger and seething inside the union. The secret meetings that are taking place, they are, to put it mildly, anything but composed. It is difficult to turn a blind eye to the audible unhappiness that reverberates through the corridors where important choices are being deliberated. Employees see their union representatives with suspicion. More and more people are beginning to doubt that these leaders are serious about safeguarding their interests. Just picture yourself playing on a sports team whose coach is always making judgments that leave you scratching your head. Word on the street is that not all union officials are doing their part to back the regular workers. Many people are feeling quite disheartened and disillusioned because of this chasm. There is a major upsurge in demands for leadership changes in response to this growing tide of dissatisfaction. A growing number of UAW members are accusing their leaders of ignoring important concerns, such as job security, and are using terms like sellout bureaucrats to describe them. Those who feel deceived are warming up to the notion of bringing in new leadership, and this angry mood is growing fast. Their message is loud and clear. They intend to elect a leader who will stand up for workers' rights, not one who will remain comfortably aloof in a workplace. Here comes Shawn Fain, the president of the union, who is taking a stand and creating quite a stir. He spares no adjectives when belittling Stellantis' recent layoffs. His position is really courageous. He is openly criticizing the layoffs and calling on the union members to be united in their opposition to what they see as an unfair situation. As he motivates the workers, exhorting them to fight like hell, the atmosphere is electrifying. However, Fain's remarks are not empty rhetoric. They have substance and direction. They should be read by all union members as a strong rallying cry. He's making a strong argument for togetherness and wants everyone to express it by banding together. Do not back down or be timid. The message is loud and clear. The future of the workers and their rights are at stake in this conflict, which goes beyond the simple maintenance of jobs. There is no denying the critical nature of the situation. Maybe under Fain's leadership, this protracted battle will reach a turning point. Uncertainty permeates the air, yet optimism is growing, the belief that we can create a better future through collective effort. What then may motivate those who are currently on the sidelines to get involved? The story progresses, but one concern remains. Will they step up, or will they get complacent? We don't yet know the outcome, but we do know that the fight has only just started and is going to heat up. The question is, what do the employees really need? Something that ought not to be negotiable should be at the top of their list: job security. While the corporation is going through a rough patch, the union isn't only seeking a courteous acknowledgement or words of encouragement. No, they're getting their hands dirty and insisting that Stellantis put employee retention first, especially before bosses get their big bonuses. Stellantis must prioritize investing in its hardworking people if it genuinely values their efforts, as they are the sole source of its success. It's about making sure people have jobs that can last, but it's also about making sure those jobs can really support families and improve whole neighborhoods. Just think about it. People should be able to take pride in their work and feel secure in their position because of their employment. Unfortunately, certain benefits fell through the gaps, and the necessity to resuscitate them has enraged the union. Let us be clear. We are not referring to inconsequential benefits like a new coffee machine for the break room. Important perks that help employees feel appreciated and safe in their jobs are what we're talking about here. Another thing, this isn't reserved for the elite. All employees, but especially new hires who frequently begin earning considerably less than they deserve, should be entitled to greater compensation and improved working conditions, which the union is fighting for. Now, let's talk about their third and most important demand: transparency in CEO salary. The startling contrast is difficult to overlook. Stellantis executives are splurging on salary raises, a staggering 56% rise to be exact, while thousands of hardworking employees face layoffs and uncertainty. The United Auto Workers isn't the kind to do nothing in the face of such flagrant corporate injustice. With resolute determination, they are shedding light on the injustice and demanding its rectification. It is quite apparent where the union stands. They are ready to lodge official grievances. They are prepared to take strong action if their demands are not addressed quickly, especially on the reopening of the Belvidere factory in Illinois and keeping earlier commitments. Believe me when I say this isn't just for show. A well-coordinated assault against Stellantis is imminent. And we're not even talking about a couple of workers getting up from their seats. No way. We're talking about a huge walkout that may shut down all Stellantis facilities in an instant. Workers are refusing to budge until their demands are fulfilled and their opinions are acknowledged, despite the huge stakes. Yet Stellantis is also refusing to back down. Being alive is a factor. Can you explain that? Okay, we'll analyze it. A declining business. Let's go into the terrifying truth that is happening at the car behemoth Ram. This is a major change that foreshadows impending problems. It is not simply the status quo. Ram has seen a concerning and alarming drop in sales over the last several months. There are lives, livelihoods, and futures at stake, not only numbers. Figures for the first half of 2024 reveal a startling drop in sales of 19.5%. That works out to almost 45,500 fewer units sold compared to the same period in 2023, an almost incomprehensible decline. These enormous obstacles make one wonder where Ram is going, rather than providing a smooth path forward. Jeep isn't the only Stellantis brand that's taking a hit either. The Jeep brand is particularly affected, noticing a decline of 19% in sales when compared to the previous year. The story takes a dramatic turn as we examine the actions of specific models. The Wrangler, which has always been popular with customers, has seen a decline of 17%. Even more discouraging is the fact that the Gladiator is experiencing a precipitous fall of 24%. The Grand Cherokee too? A mind-boggling 26% decline has been recorded. This is only the beginning, so hang on to your hats. As we continue with Chrysler, the bad news keeps piling up. In the second quarter of 24, the brand also saw a decline in sales of 19% year over year. Despite being a hot seller, the Pacifica minivan had a 16% decline in sales, with 37,000 units sold. That 300 series Chrysler sedan? Quarterly sales of 1,998 were a precipitous 53% decline. Believe it or not, Dodge isn't avoiding harm either. It's the next in line. There has been a 17% decline in sales throughout that time. The Challenger, which has a dedicated fan base, had an 11% decline in sales, with 11,480 copies sold. A further 34% drop to 16,216 units sold was seen in the Charger, an even more devastating blow. Since this generation is winding down output, the reduction is understandable and has many people concerned about what comes next. Similarly, sales of the Durango have dropped 9%, coming in at 17,792 units. The Hornet is the last remaining model, which is somewhat surprising, but with just 4,299 units sold, its viability has been called into doubt. Now, the real question isn't if they can turn things around, but rather how fast they can adapt, innovate, and win back the hearts of customers. Time is of the essence. A deluge of uncertainties around the Ram brand's future has arisen in response to these mounting issues. In the cutthroat truck industry, how can Ram change to get back on top? How do they intend to proceed? Instead of reintroducing their iconic vehicle, they intend to release a limited version. This choice shows Stellantis' will to change direction, not only a nod toward the past. An era has come to a close for a genuine high-performance legend that once held sway on the highways. The limited-run pickup signifies that conclusion, which is why Ram is launching a final edition truck on a nationwide scale. The truth is that I've been waiting a long time for this to happen. Why? Because rivals like Chevrolet have been steadily gaining ground on Ram. Sales of Chevrolet vehicles jumped above those of Ram vehicles by about 100,000 units, and that's no little disparity. It's a huge chasm. There is an immediate need for Ram to reevaluate their objectives, maybe even undergo a transformation in reaction to the changing dynamics of the industry, as the data plainly demonstrate the difficulties the firm is now facing. Stellantis, on the other hand, claims that this Ram Special Edition is more than just a truck. It's a priceless gem, and that there are only 4,000 of them in existence worldwide, making it an enticing chance for serious truck fans. Only 340 units will be sent to the Middle Eastern market out of this limited run, and only 130 will make it to Australia. Prices start at $249,950 plus on-road fees for each one, which is just staggering. The truth is that Stellantis is marketing these expensive vehicles by capitalizing on the stellar reputation of the adored Ram brand. And believe me when I say it's breathtaking. Impressive, glossy titanium beadlock wheels and distinctive TRX badging give the vehicle an air of raw sophistication. Additionally, this vehicle stands out from the crowd because to the satin titanium TRX emblem that adorns the passenger side dashboard. The monster's supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 engine produces an astounding 7.2 kilowatts of power and an incredible 650 pound-feet of torque. Envision yourself at the wheel, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a mere 4.5 seconds. The quarter-mile distance is covered in a whopping 12 minutes and 9 seconds, and it can reach speeds of up to 180 miles per hour. A cherished classic, the 2024 Ram 1500 TRX Final Edition is supercharged and upgraded to suit its amazing capabilities, and its price tag reflects it. But this model shows Stellantis' bigger plan, so it's not just about the truck's horsepower. Stellantis is releasing high-end, limited edition versions in an effort to generate awareness and, perhaps, turn around its sales slump. Particularly Ram is experiencing a metamorphosis. Not only are they making vehicles that can carry, but they are also changing the definition of a pickup truck. It's about more than simply practicality anymore. To meet the needs of today's consumers, who desire power, luxury, and state-of-the-art technology, Ram is leading the brand into a new age of style, efficiency, and capacity. And that's still in its early stages. The Rampage, which recently debuted in Brazil, and the possible revival of the mid-sized Ram Dakota are both generating considerable interest. Ram may be positioning itself for a revolutionary shift by re-entering the mid-sized truck sector, which would allow it to reach a far broader and more varied audience. Will it work, though? That is the million-dollar issue. It's easier than you might imagine. The cost of brand new Ram vehicles should give you a good idea. Okay, then we can discuss it. An unsuccessful endeavor. Models like the 2025 Ram 1500 start at about $70,000, and you can get luxury versions that easily go over $80,000. You read that correctly. Those figures are getting perilously close to matching the price of high-end sports vehicles. Those costs are too much for a lot of people to afford, especially middle and lower-class people who have always been interested in Rams because of their reputation for dependability and ruggedness. Before they even set foot in a dealership, it's as if they're priced out of the market. Regular people are finding it more difficult than ever to justify spending money like this due to the soaring cost of living, which includes things like rent, food, and gas. 10 to 15% of one's monthly salary should ideally go toward paying off a vehicle loan, according to several financial experts. Therefore, you would need to be making around $150,000 per year to maintain your finances if you were eyeing an $80,000 Ram. It becomes harder to justify spending so much on a vehicle when you consider that most people consider it no minor effort. This is the point at which Ram dealerships run into trouble. Unsold trucks are piling up on their lots. There must be hundreds, if not thousands, of 2023 and 2024 models just sitting there, anticipating customers who never show up. The problem of depreciation follows. A lot of people are hesitant to purchase these expensive trucks because of how quickly their value drops. The instant you drive away from the showroom in a brand new Ram, its value might drop by 15 to 20%, according to estimates. Who wants to risk losing so much money on an investment that doesn't even hold its value? Now things get trickier when we talk about dependability, especially with the Ram 1500. Although these vehicles have received a lot of praise for their features and performance, there are still some lingering questions about their reliability. For Ram 1500 owners, the infamous Hemi lifter tick is among the most infamous problems. A common cause of that bothersome ticking sound coming from the engine is probably a problem with the lifters. Ignoring this issue might result in more severe problems, such as worn camshafts, which could cause major harm to the engine if not remedied. No one likes to cope with a headache in the middle of winter, yet the lifter tick is most evident in the winter. Around the 70,000-mile mark, when truck owners begin to pay more attention to how their vehicles are doing, this problem usually appears. The expense to fix it can easily go into the hundreds of dollars. An interim measure rather than a long-term cure, some owners have attempted using better oil to help with the issue. Plus, there have been instances of manifold bolts being snapped or bent, leading to exhaust leaks and poor performance and gas mileage in the vehicle. Getting the bolts out is usually a labor-intensive part of fixing these difficulties, and it may add up fast. And that's not all. One recall in 2023 affected the 1500, 2500, and 3500 versions of Ram trucks, owing to defective welding in the TCU, and the company has dealt with a deluge of recalls overall. Transmission fluid seeping onto electrical components might be caused by this problem, which could result in a loss of driving power or an inability to shift into park. How does Ram feel about this whole situation? Significant savings. Dealers are trying to get customers back into their showrooms by providing discounts of 12 to 20% off the MSRP. But here's the rub. These sales imply that Ram's pricing strategy could have been off, telling buyers to be on the lookout for deals at all times, which might further damage the premium status of the brand. But how do you feel about this? Share your thoughts below. Thank you for tuning in. Until the next video, take care.